Hello and welcome to my channel. It is ZG here. If you like my content I bring to YouTube, please like and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, all links are on my YouTube main page. Feel free to follow me on Twitch if you like to watch a streamer stream a variety of games, also Magic the Gathering. Thanks for any support and engagement, it means a lot. I won't waste your time and let's get into the video. Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to cover a deck take video on Tasigur the Golden Fang. I'm very excited about this because Tasigur is a very unique commander and he is good in many ways. So Tasigur the Golden Fang is a 6 mana mono black. Okay, so it's 5 generic and 1 black mana. He has Delve, so you can exile a card from a graveyard to drop his mana cost lower. And he has it's a 4/5 body as well. It's a human shaman, and then he has the ability for 2 generic, either green or blue. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a non-land card of an opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. So you basically pay 4 mana and then you mill 2, and then opponent can choose a non-land and it gets returned to your hand. So you can recur certain spells, you can use other cards to delve, you can delve away all the, let's say, all the non-lands you don't want to get back. And it's just like a very good graveyard centric commander that has the unique ability to recur cards and non-land cards from your graveyard. So let's get into it. So first off, I'm going to just explain the ramp and why I chose this approach. So with Tasigur's ability, with Tasigur having the delve ability, I want to ramp, but at the same time put cards in my graveyard, and using sorcery based ramp and creature based ramp, it fills your graveyard as well as ramps you at the same time. So it has a very good synergy in a deck that has delve. So first we have Cultivate. It's search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal them, put 1 card on the battlefield tapped and under in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Then you have Beneath the Sands. Search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. It also has Cycling 2. Spring Bloom Druid. Sacrifice the land, you get 2 lands, 2 basic lands, and they don't, they're enter tapped. Okay, or they enter tapped. Then you have Burnished Heart. You pay 3 mana to play him, then you pay another 3 to sacrifice him and get 2 basic lands, put them in the battlefield tapped. Set for Tomorrow, very good. Turn 1 you can suspend for 2, and then in 2 turns you can play it for free, or you can pay 3 mana and search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield. Rolling Regrowth, same as Spring Bloom Druid and Harrow. You sacrifice 1 land and then you search for 2 basic lands, put them in a battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Arrow, same as Rolling Regrowth, but also instant speed. Far Wanderings, you search your library for a basic land card, put that card on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And then Threshold, if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And trust me, this happens a lot in this deck because you fill your graveyard constantly with Tasigur's ability. The Far Wandering, getting 3 lands is very likely. Restore, you from, let's say you mill lands, this is a way to get them back. With Restored, you just put a land from your graveyard onto the battlefield and it's not tapped. Then you have Rampant Growth. Search your library for a basic land, put that card under the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Very good 2 mana ramp, probably one of the best ramps in a budget deck. Then you have Age of Autumn. Also, if you control 4 or fewer lands, search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And then you can also cycle to put stuff in your graveyard. That's it for the ramp. Next we're going to do the Disruption package. This is basically just disrupting the enemy's plan with counter magic and bouncing creatures to their hand and stuff like that. So first off we have Clutch of the Undercity. it's a 4 mana instant that says the turn target permanent it's on his hand, its controller loses 3 life. Now the reason this is in the deck is not necessarily for the way it functions, like you bounce a permanent and they lose 3 life. It's more for the transmute, because there are 4 CMC cards in the deck that you can transmute for, which makes this a very good card. Otherwise, return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. That's very good. Whirlwind Denial, if the stack has a lot of spells on, you basically play this for 3 mana and then it counters counters every spell or ability unless they pay 4, so you can counter everything on the stack essentially. Supreme Will counters, it functions as a dig spell and a counter spell, so it counters unless they pay 3, or you can look at the top 4 of your library. Sinister Sabotage is just like a hard counter that also has Surveil, so you can chuck something in your graveyard. Dissolve, counter spell, and then scry, same as Sinister Sabotage, but just scrying. Thought Erasure, you basically look at opponent's hand, they discard a card of your choice, a non-land card, and then you surveil one. Same with Sinister Sabotage, you can chuck something in the graveyard. Negate, a very solid counter magic. Mana Leak, counter unless they pay 3. Blink of an eye, you can bring something to the opponent's hand, and if you kicked it you can draw a card. Agonizing Remorse, same as Thought Erasure, you basically look at the opponent's hand. But this exiles, it doesn't just discard and you lose life. Unsummon, return target creature to its owner's hand. Spell Pierce, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. Duress, you look at the opponent's hand and then you discard and make them discard a non-creature non-land. Just basically to look at the opponent's hand for information and maybe take away a very good counter magic or good spell. This spell, counter target instant spell, is just a very good counter magic spell. And that's it for the disruption. Now we're going to get to removal. First off, we have Kenrith's Transformation. For 2 mana you basically enchant a creature, they lose all ability and is a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. You also draw a card, so it replaces itself. You can use this on any creature that is wreaking havoc on your game plan and basically nullify that creature. Then you have Frogify, same story, but it has power and toughness 1/1. So if they want to let the creature die, they can block with it. Price of Fame, this spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature. So basically just destroy target creature and you surveil 2. In some cases, if you're targeting the commander, this will basically be a 2 mana destroy spell with destroy target creature spell with surveil 2, which is very good. Putrefy, very good Golgari counter removal. Destroy target artifact or creature, it can be regenerated. In some cases it matters if you can regenerate or not, but it's very good counter magic at instant speed. Poison the Cup, you can foretell. It's 3 mana, a 3 mana instant that says destroy target creature, but if you foretell it by paying 2 mana at your first main phase, I think, then you can cast this for its foretell cost, which is 1 generic and 1 pack, and then you can scry 2 as well. Victim of Night, very good. It's double black mana, destroy target non-vampire, non-werewolf, non-zombie creature, and that's a lot of stuff because there's not a lot of werewolf commanders, I think, not that I've seen. So this will be in most cases be a very good removal spell. Eliminate, destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. Very good low on the ground removal for that Aven Mind Sensor, stopping you from searching a library or just like a laboratory maniac, just anything basically, but just 3 mana and less. And that's it for the removal. Next is digging for the combos with Obsessive Stitcher. You basically draw a card and discard a card if you tap her, and then you can also reanimate for 4 mana and tapping Obsessive Stitcher. Omen of the Sea, scry 2, draw 1, and you can also sacrifice it to scry 2. Mystical Teachings, you search your library for an instant, reveal it, and then you put it in your hand and shuffle your library. You can look for any instant, so you can use this to count to tutor for a negate, for a dispel, for any instant removal as well, and it has flashback. Then Razakev's Right, like a solid hard tutor, but it also has cycling for 1. Factor Fiction, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles, put 1 pile into your hand and the other in your graveyard. This is very good because you let the opponent choose, and then whatever you chuck in your graveyard, you can use Tasigur's ability to maybe get something back. Diabolic Tutor, a very hard tutor spell. Basically search for any card, put it in your hand and shuffle your library. Behold the Multiverse, it's scry 2 and then draw 2 cards, but you can foretell it and then pay 2 mana. Tihada's Ploy, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. You gain life equal to the number of cards you've discarded this turn. This alone, you basically you gain 1 life and draw 2 cards. But it also has Jumpstart, so if it's mulled through Tasigur's ability, you can jumpstart it. Deliberate, scry 2, draw a card for 2 mana. Anticipate, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Opt, scry 1, draw 1. And that's it for digging for combos. And now I'm going to get to the combo. So the combo this deck runs, along with everything else, is Herd Ballad and Ivy Lane Denizen. So Herd Ballad reads, whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Herd Ballad, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. And then Ivy Lane Denizen reads, whenever another green creature enters a battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So what this does is, if Ivy Lane Denizen is on the battlefield, and the next turn you play Herd Ballad, you can have Ivy Lane Denizen put a counter on Herd Ballad, and then you create a 4/4 beast creature token. And then because it's a green beast, because a green creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may put another counter on Herd Ballad, and then you can keep on doing this until you have infinite 4/4 green creature tokens, or you can decide and have 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000. Maybe 3,000 to send 1,000 green beast tokens to each opponent. But yeah, this is basically like the main winning combo. It's very good and solid, and it's kind of redundant, but yeah, now we're gonna get ways to protect your combo. So the one is the Fairy's Time Twist. Exile target permanent you control, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. If it enters the battlefield as a creature, it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Then you see a card approach. You can give any creature hexproof or tap down a creature. You can use dive down. Target creature gets +0/+3 against hexproof until end of turn. And those are the 3 ways to protect your combo. You also have counter magic in the deck, but those are like only in the deck to protect your combo. Then we have an alternate win con, the Sky Decaphile. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. So with Tasigur's ability, you get 1 card back and you draw 1 card. And you also have no maximum hand size. So getting 13 cards with Tasigur out is not that difficult. You can use it at instant speed. So let's say you have enough mana, you can use Tasigur's ability to basically put 12 cards in your hand. You draw for turn, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. But I'm actually unsure, like, it's upkeep, so you need 13 cards in hand before your first main phase, before your draw phase. So you can also use the Sky Decaphile's ability to draw a card for 4 mana. And there's ways to make it cheaper in the deck. So I'm just gonna get to that. So with the Sky Decaphile and Tasigur, we have Biomancer Familiar. Biomancer Familiar is a 1 green, 1 blue 2/2 mutant that reads activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs to activate less than 1 mana. So essentially, you always need to cast mana to activate a creature's ability. This doesn't take it away, it only reduces. And then it can tap to the next time target creature adapts this turn, adapt as though it had no +1/+1 encounters on it. This is not very relevant in this case because we don't adapt, but it does reduce Tasigur and the Skydeckerfile's ability by 2 mana. So you can use Tasigur's ability for 2 mana and then get stuff back and mill 2, which is great. That's honestly like very good value. Then you have Verity Circle. This is, in my opinion, it's one of the better blue cards in this price category. In some cases it has the same effect or like same result as a Mystic Remora or Rhystic Study, because people tap their creatures for abilities, or just for anything. Like if you have a mana draw out and you tap it against a Verity Circle, that player with the Verity Circle draws a card, and it's very good value. Verity Circle reads whenever a creature an opponent control becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Like if you tap a mana dork for mana, your opponent will draw a card if he has Verity Circle out. And then for 5 mana you can tap target creature without flying. You have Trial of Evidence. This turns all instants and sorceries into an Investigate. Then you have Rise from the Tides for 6 mana. The 6 mana sorcery, you create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. So with Tasigur's ability, you can mill a lot of instants and sorceries, and then this card might just create you 10 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Whispering Madness. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. Sorry. So it's for 4 mana. You can wheel and then you can cipher it onto a creature. So if that creature deals damage to an opponent, you can cast this for free. Regrowth. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Let's say you have a combo piece like the Skydeckerfile or Biomancer's Familiar or Herd Palette. Anything in your hand, you can basically return it from your graveyard to your hand. Dizzy Spell. Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn. This is mainly used to transmute for maybe a Dispel or another very good 1 mana spell. Then you have Talrand Sky Summoner. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 blue drake creature token with flying. This creates tokens of all your instants and sorceries, and there's a lot. Murmuring Mystic, same as Talrand, but this creates a 1/1 blue illusion, a blue bird illusion creature token with flying. So this the extra stuff in the deck is basically to let you value off any instant and sorcery, which helps a lot with like jump blockers or just combat phases, being like mostly jump blockers. But with Talrand you get 2/2 flying drakes, which is very good. Wavebreak Hippocamp, also one of the better cards in the price range. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. So let's say you leave mana open, Wavebreak Hippocamp is on the battlefield, and someone casts a spell that you counter. When you cast your first spell, this goes on the stack, and then you draw a card, and then your spell will resolve. If the opponent, let's say, plays another counter magic, and you drew another counter spell off Wavebreak Hippocamp, you can keep on countering the opponent, or you can even play an opt to draw a card and then scry and then draw anyways. It is also very good for the Skydeckerfile to replace counter spells and instants in your hand into another card, so that you can always keep cards in your hand. Painseer is a 2 mana black 2/2 human wizard that has Inspired. Whenever Painseer becomes untapped, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's converted mana cost. Now I like Pioneer a lot because its budget and its function is very relevant. It's based, in my eyes, it's basically a Dark Confidant for 2 mana, but the only step is it needs to untap. So if you play Pioneer on turn 2 and you start attacking on turn 3, you can easily net value until the opponents start playing spells and playing creatures, because usually the first 3 or 4 turns everyone's busy ramping and color fixing, and then you have Pioneer out untapping to net you cards, which I like a lot. And you start with 40 life, so losing life is not that big of a deal. And that's it for the extra stuff. Now we're getting to the mana base. This deck runs 10 swamps, 10 islands, 9 forests, a Witherbloom campus that taps for green and black, and it can also for 4 mana scry 1. Thornwood Falls, it taps for green and blue, it comes in tap but you gain 1 life. Terramorphic Expanse, I like the art, but you sacrifice it to search for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. This helps you color fix to get all 3 colors. Quandrix Campus, same as the other one, it taps for green and blue, and for 4 mana you can scry 1. Opulent Palace taps, it comes in tap but it taps for all 3 colors of the deck. Evolving Wilds can help you mana fix as well as thin the deck out and add a card to your graveyard to delve away to play Tasigur. And then a command tower, which is very good and is budget. And that's it for the lands, and that's pretty much it for the deck. But yeah guys, that is it for me. I hope you like this type of content. If you do, please like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.